Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. Welcome back, or if you're new, welcome. And I'm so excited for you to be here. Lately, I've been reminded that I don't have to go through life alone, that I have a supportive friends and family around me, and people to lean on when I'm not feeling my best, or heck man, if my plate's just a little too full. But I also was reminded how we always have this beautiful energy too, where I have this energy around me and the universe. So some people call it the universe, some people call it God, and I have mixed feelings about sharing anything like this, but I'm not talking religion today. I'm talking about the spirit around us, just having guidance systems around us. And it can even be your true self. So whatever you think of this as, that's what I'm talking about. Because to me, it's whatever you feel in your being it is. I've struggled with this over the past few years of, religion, spiritualism, and things like that. I've been kind of lost on this thing because I used to go to church. I was raised Lutheran. Now, we didn't go very often until I was in grade 7 or 8. And then I just wanted to go because it would take me to the city when we were out in the country and I didn't have anything to do. And then I was married by our pastor, our Lutheran pastor, or my Lutheran pastor, I should say. And then my children are baptized Lutheran, and so am I, kind of thing. So anyways, that doesn't matter because like I said, I'm not talking about religion. I just wanted to share with what my background is. And I've always felt supported by something. But lately I just kind of gotten lost on what to label it. And the funny thing is, we don't have to label anything. I was just talking to my friend yesterday actually, and about, plant-based eating and vegan and things like that. And ever since I've gone to the yoga teacher training and it was a vegetarian menu, I really got to embrace that side again and remember how much I love eating a lot less meat. However, I don't put labels on anything anymore, or at least I try not to. And in this case, I don't. I mostly eat plant-based foods. However, if I feel like eating meat or, dairy products and things like that, on occasion I will. And there's no guilt or anything because I didn't put a label on it. It's just that I'm mostly trying to eat things from the earth more than anything else. And it's just makes me feel good. And then, anyways, so it's these labels that we put on ourselves. And same with these energies that we can feel around us. And I really got lost on it. And the funniest thing about all this is I used the guidance of the universe to get me to where I am today. I was reading Gabby Bernstein's Super Attractor when it first came out. I believe it was early 2020. I might be wrong about that. Anyways, I was reading it right when it came out. I pre-ordered it and I was reading it. And I literally followed all the steps in it. And there's a lot about, asking for guidance and thanking, the universe and things like that. And I leaned into all of that. However, once I got here, I was so happy about living my dream and just kind of like let life go and like kind of take me on my own roller coaster ride again. And life happened. And I forgot that I could lean on this external support system around me and within me. And I kind of let my life kind of just take a crazy roller coaster ride, forgetting how much support I actually have around me with the loved ones around me, but also with the universe and even my own inner knowing and things like that. And finally, lately, I have been listening more. And it's actually funny because I'll be looking for something or I'll really need a question. It's like a simple question. And I'll be like, what do I need right now? And it'll like pop into my mind or, just little things. Like it doesn't have to be big things. But I've been on this, like I said, this spiritual roller coaster because I felt like I had to label it. Because it's this religious world meets the spiritual world. And when I lean more into the spiritual side of it and not put the labels on anything else, It feels really good. And I actually have been following some people in the world of business, but they use spirit as a guide. And it was just so beautiful that it's all kind of coming back again. And I'm reminded of how much better it is when I'm not trying to control and force things, where I can ask for guidance and support along the way and kind of let go of the reins and this idea that I have about life and allow myself to be guided towards what I want or what, is even better than like this or something better is what Gabby likes to say, Gabby Bernstein, this or something better. Actually, there's a few people in the world, so it's not just hers, I don't think. But anyways, this or something better. Because we can get, or at least I know for myself personally, I can get this idea in my head, like, I want to do this. And this is the way it's going to happen. And this is what I have to do to get there. Well, if my life has taught me anything, it means like that life just sometimes has a plan for us that we don't know yet. Like before I moved, I wanted to always keep our home in Ontario, so we would have somewhere to go when we'd visit family. And I had this idea where I had to keep something there and then have another, and then I could move and have another home. But I'm like, well, financially, that wasn't on the card, that was not on the table. So I had these ideas of what was supposed to be instead of what could be, and then what ended up being. And to be honest, if we did keep our home in Ontario, if it was financially feasible, two things, or maybe more than two, but the first one is we probably wouldn't see that home very often because I love it too much here on the West Coast. Now, if we had a place there, I might be more willing to go because then we had our own space and stuff. But honestly, I'm kind of glad to get out of the city and the hustle and bustle of things, and I'm just so much more happier surrounded by mountains and ocean. So I don't know if I would have ever visited the home we would have stayed at, except to sell it. And then furthermore, not that I want to get into this too much, but then we'd be holding on to a house that would stay empty. And now with everything going on in the world, in the markets, the housing market, I'd want to just make sure somebody else had that home. Now, we didn't have to get rid of it. We probably could have rented it out. But then there's that aspect of making sure that somebody's taking care of the house because we weren't in the same province. Anyways, I didn't want to do that. So it happens. Like we have these ideas in our head of what should be. And then sometimes, things go a different way. And that is okay. But I was just reminded about this, how we don't have to do everything alone. And I want to incorporate other people in our life too, right? We can get so caught up in feeling we have to do it all ourselves. And we do have family and friends that can help us along the way if we need help. If our schedule's super full. And if we have, bigger questions and concerns or, sometimes our family and friends just don't have enough energy to support us through some of the big stuff either. Right? And what I found actually, because like I said, I was listening to this business course. It was a workshop about having this spiritual guidance through your business. And I was like, what? And I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, I forgot how important it is to lean on support, of that spiritual aspect of things. And also, so this was business, but then I've been struggling with my health. Not in a crazy way, but it has been a struggle nonetheless. And it's really interfered with my business, my life in general, and just my hopes and dreams have kind of went sideways a little bit just because with candida overgrowth, if I'm not careful, I get brain fog, fatigue, and then some severe inflammation where it got even in my right hand and I couldn't use it. So, but I know how to fix it. Just sometimes it takes a while. Or actually, I got sugar out of the deal and then dairy and alcohol. And you guys are probably those have sugar in it too. So anyways, but those things also interfere. So I have to be very careful. But the thing is, it's not something this candida diet isn't something you're supposed to stay on very long because it's not manageable very long. But anyway, so I'm having some difficulties there. However, After, being in this free workshop for spirit, having, spirit in your business and having it help your business, I realized I can use it as for my own personal struggles too, where I can go for guidance there. I shouldn't say use, but like use it as a guiding system. And actually, I decided to surrender my pain and my struggles of candida and stop focusing so much on the problem and allow myself to look for solutions. So instead of getting caught up in that story of candida and all the crappiness that goes with it, I was like, I'm going to surrender this to the universe. And I said a prayer. And it was just so good. And even like the next day, I started feeling better because I surrendered my idea of who I am and this label of candida overgrowth and allowed myself to think of things that I haven't done before and to kind of like think of, this beautiful spirit that's going to help me on my health journey. It's, we sometimes get personal trainers and things like that. Well, I think of like a spiritual personal trainer where it's this being around me, kind of helping me get to my best health and become my best self along that way of being, the healthiest. Because when we are at our healthiest, we can show up fully, right? When we have aches and pains, it can really hinder our day, our week, our month, going into months and months, into years. And I'm kind of over that. So over it. So I'm still at struggles at times, right? But it's knowing that I don't have to do it all alone. I have family and friends, but I also have this beautiful energy around me, guiding me, supporting me, and protecting me through this bumpy road of my life so I can come through it and be my healthiest self. Because one of the biggest things that I want to do is I want to show up for my kids. I want to have energy. I want to do fun things. And I want to show up for you. Because honestly, it's been weeks where I had record my podcast in my calendar and I just couldn't do it. The brain fog was so thick and my fatigue, and there was no creativity. But the moment I surrendered to what I thought was, and I could allow myself to just allow what could be, beautiful things started to happen. And I actually recorded a couple episodes, I think the day after I surrendered. It was pretty darn close. If it wasn't the day after, it was a day or two before that. But like I'm pretty sure it was the day after I recorded 2 episodes because I just felt so inspired. So anyways, I hope this has been a fun episode for you. It's a little different. It's not something I usually talk about too much, but it is something that has guided me through a lot of my life, especially since I've read The Super Attractor. But even before then, I remember having a conversation with my grandpa when I'd feel stressed. I lost him when I was in grade 5, so I remember having a conversation with him. So I've really always believed in this higher being around and angels and things like that. However, like I said, I lost sight of the support that I have literally all around me. And when we do, allow the universe or whatever you want to call it to support you, beautiful, beautiful things happen. And whatever that looks like to you, because I really do believe that we all have our own ideas of things, and that is totally okay. Like I said, I've had ups and downs and different thoughts and like just so much. I've been, at a tug of war in my own self. And like I said, I just had to remove labels because down to the point, it's like, what is it that I truly believe? And to me, that's all that matters. The labels, it's just a label. So it's really just believing in the core belief. And to me, that's really what matters the most. We can throw any label at anything. It doesn't make it so, right? So anyways, enough about that. But just know that you are supported, you are loved, and you have this guidance at your fingertips. It's just such a beautiful thing. And you don't have to do this alone via either asking, people that are in the physical form or spiritual. You have support in your life. And I know it can feel so lonely sometimes when you feel so alone, because you feel so alone. But you don't have to be alone and do this all alone. You can get down on your knees and pray. Or heck, man, I lay in bed. Not gonna lie, I lay in bed and I pray. And what that is, whatever it looks like to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying to the end. I am so grateful for you. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.